Welcome everyone to the Thursday Elite Zoom training. Today, I wanted to go over another digital product, Quility specific digital product, American Amicable's QSFP, which is the final expense whole life. So right now, Quility and Symmetry in general, they're definitely pushing the Quility digital products, and for a couple of reasons. One, they want to have all these carriers to make all their application um, all be all the same. All the carriers should be in the Quility Navigator system so that agents can just go in there, compare all the rates among all the carrier products, and then choose that one and apply for them and get them approved same day or 15 minutes. So that's kind of the whole reason why they're doing that. So it's the easiness of doing the application and also helping agents to be able to narrow down the best options. And the other thing is Quility Symmetry is really looking to go public in the next few years. And I feel like having a Quility product, it makes the company more valuable. So it's better for agents, it's easier for clients, and also it's better for the valuation of the company. And we've been using a lot of carriers, but we're going to start to also utilize more of the Quility digital products. And we're going to go over the American Amicable product today. So let me share my screen. And by the way, some agents ask me, where do you get all the resources for those products? You always go to hq.quility.com and you can click on Sales Tools and Carrier and Products. And once you're in here, you can click Digital Insurance Product Resources for you to utilize one of the Quility digital insurance products. And it will go ahead and give you a one sheet. And I share this with you on the last call. It shows you all the Quility specific digital products in here. You can take a look at that. And when you go back to the carrier and resources, you can go to carriers and explore now. Core carriers, click on info, American Amicable. Scroll down. And all the information you need is in here, starting from E&O is not required for American Amicable, which is great. Um, and then states where a license is required to receive an override. So if you're building an agency, if you're building a team, then and your agents are out of these states, when they write business, you want to be already licensed in those non-resident states for you to receive that override. So this is something that I want you to know. And when you scroll down a little bit, it talks about the Quility Secure Future Preferred. So QSFP is what the shortened word is for. And when you see the QSFP underwriting agent guide, this is going to show you. Let me just go ahead and pull that up. So when you click on this underwriting guide, it will have all the different health issues and medication that the client is being prescribed, and they tell you if it's something that they can qualify for or they just cannot qualify for. So this prescription reference guide, I think it's great because if it's like Abilify, most of these medications are pretty serious, right? And if it's not on this list, then that means there's a great chance the client should be approved, no problem. But they also tell you exactly what it is for and if they're eligible or not eligible for this products. So this is a really good tool for you to use, especially if you get the client's medication list. And going back to this bill chart, this is something you can also always look at before you apply for any clients. No matter how healthy the client is, if their height and weight is not good, let's just say for their height, their weight is really high and they're overweight, then they can be declined even if they never took a single medication in their life. So always remember that. Height and weight should be the absolute basic thing that you should first look at before you look at anything else. Okay. So you can take a look at the height and weight chart, and they even show you how to do the client signature experience, what the client should be expecting, so that when you're giving them some, tips of how to do the signature, whether it's text signature, email signature, they have the ability to do both. And declinable conditional guide, this is clients who have different medical conditions. So they tell you, like congestive heart failure, kidney dialysis, Parkinson's, stroke, TIA, it has to be at least for 2 years. They have to be cleared for, and hospitalization, those things are not okay if they recently have done that. If they're currently in a nursing home or chronic pain with opiate use. So yeah, so these are all the things that take a look. And one sheet, it just explains about the Quility Secure feature products. Issue age is from 50 to 85. And then they have a standard, non-tobacco, tobacco, preferred non-tobacco, preferred plus non-tobacco. So they have really three ratings in the non-tobacco rating. So if the client is quite healthy, but they want like a whole life policy, then this pricing is going to be quite good for preferred plus rating. And it goes anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000 in coverage. It's one of the highest. And so if the client gets a preferred plus rating, they can get up to $100,000. That's one of the highest in the industry, right? And then preferred non-tobacco up to 75K, that's still very high. And even 50,000 is one of the highest. So this is an amazing product, especially if the client says, hey, I'm like 72. I don't really have a lot of health issue. Maybe they just take blood pressure or cholesterol and everything else is really well controlled. I would go for this. And it comes with terminal illness rider and also confined care. So that means if the client is confined to like a nursing home or an assisted living facility, then they can accelerate the death benefit up front. Terminal illness means that you can also accelerate the death benefit up front if they have 12 months or less to live. And then charitable giving. So they give you a small percentage of your death benefit and match a small percentage and give it to a charity of your choice. But it doesn't take away from the beneficiary. It gives them the still 100% death benefit to the family, but they just match it and give a small portion to a charity of your choice. Standard and better health class for client 50 to 85 years old. Client has a critical need period for financial loss. So, when we're doing mortgage protection sale and doing a presentation, it's either going to be a mortgage payoff where we try to cover the full mortgage, or we go to a critical need period, critical period, we call it. Critical period means that the most critical period for a family is right after a death. They have mortgage due, all the utilities are due, everything is due. The mortgage company is not going to say, oh, your husband passed away. I'm going to give you 6 months, no mortgage payments. It doesn't work that way. So we protect the family's assets by giving them time. And they say psychologists say to recommend to not make any type of big financial decision during their grieving period of at least 6 months to 12 months. Because if they're rushed to make decision because they don't have money to pay mortgage payments, that's the time when they, tend to lose their home, or make decisions that they didn't really want to make. So this will be a great product that you can utilize for a critical period to give them 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months of mortgage payments covered. And before these type of products came out, whole life, senior whole life usually went up to only 30 to $40,000 in death benefit. So with a higher mortgage payment, it was really hard to cover them for even 12 months, 18 months. But with a death benefit up to $100,000 in coverage, you can give them a lot more coverage now, a longer period of coverage for a critical period. Okay. Also, client can use this as a final expense product. So for funeral, cremation, burial, all that stuff. Okay, and how to download a copy of the application. They're showing you all that. And today I wanted to show you,
Hey, Sean, real quick, was that for
yeah,
American Amicable Dignity Solutions?
no, this is actually for Quility, QSFP,
Okay.
Quility Secure, uh, the preferred product, future preferred product. So here, let me show you. Yeah, Quility Secure Future Preferred. Yeah, it's a long name,
Okay.
QSFP.
Okay.
And this is the one I recommend. Dignity Solution is antiquated. So the reason why I say that, American Amicable, I think they have a great product, but I don't like their back office and their application process through their website. It looks like it's back in the 1995, their website. And when you do the application, it's very, very analog. So if you want to do a whole life with American Amicable, just go straight to HQ and go to sales tools, right? And then you can go to carrier products and then take a look at all the information here. On the top left corner, you can click Navigator and it takes you to the application and quoting tool right away. So let me just show you something. Let me go ahead and close some of this up. Okay. Once you're in here and you wanted to do the quoting, you go to quote slash apply, create new, and we're going to say your client and date of birth. Let's say the client is around, let's say 65 years old, right? So May 1st, what is 65? So 1960, yeah. And female and create client. And the Quility Navigator, again, for new agents who are just joining now and new agents joining Symmetry, Quility Navigator is Symmetry's one-stop shop where you can quote all the products and also do the application and find out in about 15 minutes if the client can qualify or not. So these products is a lot easier. And once new agents come in, I would start here because it's the easiest way for you to learn this business. There's term, final expense, and IUL. You click on final expense. Solicitation state, let's go ahead and do Texas. And face amount, let's just say we do 50,000. Click on personalized quote. Underwriting. So here you can put in the client's basic information that you collected when you're doing the dialing. So if we do 5'3" in height and she's about 160 pounds, is the proposed insured currently hospitalized? Tobacco, let's put never. And common health conditions, transient ischemic attack. So TIA, heart attack, angioplasty, cancer, bipolar, schizophrenia, autoimmune disease, diabetes. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and say no to these and go to next. COPD, emphysema, bronchitis. We're going to say none of the above. Has a proposed insurer been convicted of felony? No. In the last 10 years, has a proposed insured had a DUI or a DWI? But no. And once you get to the quoting tool, not only the American Amicable product shows, let me zoom in a little bit. Not only the American Amicable Quility Secure Future Preferred QSFP shows, it shows you United Home Life, QSFC, and then Americo Eagle Select, and then Transamerica Level Express
Please stay on the
Solution.
line.
Okay. So you can compare the rates right away and the benefits and take a look at this. Do you see that it says full EAP? Fully digital EAP with instant decision capabilities within minutes. So it shows you that. Also, The Quility products. So the Quility
Sorry, this
products have
person is not
Quility in their
available.
name.
If you'd like to
Yeah,
leave an additional message,
yeah,
please
Stefan,
reply
let's
after the
mute that.
tone.
Mute that. Okay. So here, these ones are available too, but like I
Sean,
was
can you
saying,
say, I'm sorry, can you
okay.
say what you were going to say? Because we didn't hear you when the noise was going on.
Okay. Yeah, so the Quility products, specific product says Quility on the name. So these are ones that are integrated into the navigator. So you can get the client application done in 15 minutes right in this platform. So you look at the price, it's about 193, right? 193.82 a month for 50,000 in face amount. United Home Life policy would be around $217 a month. Americo is about 192 a month, and Transamerica FA Express is about 243 a month. So if you look at the best pricing, so I'm gonna be very realistic, guys. The pricing wise, this is not 193.82 and this is 192.95. It's less than $1 difference. At this point, this is what you need to determine. When you right now write the Quility specific products that says Quility on this, you can get an additional $50 lead credit per every policy sold. So if you sell five of this, that's $250 extra money that you're going to receive to buy leads. So I would use this if I was an agent. If the benefits are the same and the price is less than $1 difference, client wouldn't, they wouldn't even know unless you talk about that, right?
Isn't
A dollar not break their bank. Okay, go ahead.
doesn't doesn't Quility pay higher than the other ones on this?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was gonna go to, Charles. So let's go to the HQ commission grid. And when we go to, let's go to the American Amicable MM. So you go down here and you see all the carriers listed down here, and this is the commission guideline. And we're gonna go to the product. Take a look. Yeah, QSFP. You see that right there? Clients between 50 and 79 years old. Take a look at this. If you're a starting agent, this is the symmetry commission level up here, top. What do you get paid? If they're between 50 and 79, which is 90% of our clients for the final expense products, it's 80%. So you get your full commission on these products. That's fantastic, right? If you use Dignity Solution, remember the agent was asking if it's Dignity Solution? If you use a Dignity Solution, the commission is only 60%. So as an agent, if the pricing is similar, why would you use that? So that's where the knowledge comes in. And that's why I want you guys to kind of study that because profitability is very important in this business. We take care of the client, we give them the best deal, but still want to make sure that we're not working for free. If agents are not making money, you cannot survive in this business. So make sure utilize the better products for you and the client. So if you use this, you get a full commission. And look at this. If you look at a QSFP, if you're at a like 100% commission, you get a full 100%. That's amazing. If you're at 115%, you get 115% of the client's annual premium. So as a new agent, your goal is simple. Become a seasoned new agent as soon as possible. Write up a policy on yourself so you can practice. You don't want to do a first application on the client, right? Because you're going to be learning and you're going to be scrambling. Do a policy on yourself. You feel more confident doing the application, and then go ahead and do the write the sixth application to become a seasoned new agent, SNA. And once you do that, you should already be getting a promotion to 80 to 85% in just 30 days. And then you go ahead and go for your 90% for your slingshot bonus and get a promotion to 90. And then you work on from 90 to 95. So you can get a 15% commission raise in first 3 months. No other companies offer that. So you can literally go from 80% commission to 95% commission in just 3 months. That's how the most successful agents do who get there quicker. Okay. And if you're talking about in terms of long term, how that affects you, if you did 100,000 in business, you're making $15,000 more a year in commission. Does that make sense? And then if we were to go back and just take a look, don't get me wrong, I love Americo. Americo has a great products, but Eagle Select between the age of 60 to 80, that's the most common, 60 to 80. So let's go take a look. At a symmetry commission level of 80%, you get only 65. So you get 15% less, right? So if the price is less than $1 difference a month, you guys tell me, are you using Americo to get a 65% commission, or are you going to be using the American Amicable QSFP to get 80% your full commission rate? It's a no-brainer. And you get a $50 lead credit. So I would recommend this. And when you're ready to do it and client says, okay, let's go ahead and do this one, then you click apply and it takes you straight to the application. If a client says, hey, I'm thinking about getting more coverage, oh, no worries. Let's go ahead and bring this up to 100,000. It's 384. And take a look. None of the other products are now showing the options because they cannot show the $100,000 face amount. Okay. If you want to do less, you can put less here. And if you want to just practice this without actually starting a real application, you just go to learn/demo. Yep. And you see the American Amicable Whole Life Insurance. You click Start Test Drive. And, okay, so Honesty Pledge. Close Insure will view. Okay, here. I think the maybe Test Drive Agent. I wonder if I have to put Test Drive Agent. Okay. Yeah, Test Drive Agent. And within the past 2 years, has the proposed insured had any of the following conditions? Chest pain, heart attack, COPD, emphysema, cancer, bipolar disorder, alcohol abuse. Yeah, but if you have these in the last 2 years, none of the carriers will really take you, right? Maybe Transamerica, FA Express, but that's even a maybe, depending on how recent that was. Are you currently hospitalized, confined, wheelchair, bed, toileting? You need help with those? No. In the past 12 months have been declined for life insurance. Okay, and I'll give you a little tip here. When an application asks if they've been declined over the last 12 months or have they ever been declined, just be careful of putting yes on that right away because when an insurance company is looking to insure a client, they're looking at the overall risk factor of how risky is it to insure this client? How likely is this client going to die in the next few years? So if you put that they've been declined with other life insurance companies, then that could be a negative effect for the client's underwriting. So when in doubt, put no. Always try to do, to the best of your knowledge. But if you're unsure, if the client is unsure, just put no is what I'm saying. If you put yes, when the client was not sure, then that can jeopardize the client's insurability. Does that make sense? So use a little bit of your common sense. And sometimes it's a kind of gray area where a client doesn't remember everything. And I don't even remember what I ate a week ago. So how does a client remember what they did 6 months ago? So just be mindful of that is all I'm saying. And
Hey,
then
Sean.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
yeah, go
you. I
ahead.
was just gonna say for like the newer agents out there
Mhm.
too, like if you write Americo or like Mutual of Omaha and it's trending not favorable or America withdraws it, that is not considered a decline, right? It's a
Mhm.
withdraw.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good point, Kat.
I believe SBLI
So,
is the same. We had them on a meeting once and they clarified for us that they're not a true decline. It's they've withdrawn the application too. So SBLI and Americo, you can always not count that as a decline.
yeah, and I love where the insurance industry, life insurance industry is going now. Because before the process was like you meet with a client in person and you show the options, you do a paper app, you fax it in or mail it in, and you have to wait weeks. And sometimes you need to do a blood work, and agents get paid after like a month. Like that was the process. Now we can get clients quoted and apply and get covered in 15 minutes. I'm telling you, this next 10 years is going to be the golden age for life insurance and financial services. You're in this business at the right time, and also you're in the right place because symmetry is in the forefront of that. And when you have a client, let's just say you applied with Americo or SBLI, wherever carrier, and you didn't get approved, that doesn't mean they're a decline, like how Kat and Jessica was saying. So I wouldn't put that they were declined on that situation. Okay. And let's go to next. Starting an app. Propose insured information. You gather all this info. You go to next. Would you like to also send the signature links to all parties of this application via text message? Most clients have a smartphone nowadays. So if they have a smartphone, then they can receive a text and just easily get the text message and do it. If the client has a non-smartphone, they can still receive a text message and get the code for them to sign it. But usually, I would prefer to just have them to do the text message versus any other method because sometimes email goes to like a spam folder or goes to a different like a junk folder and they cannot find it. So text message is usually the preferred method for all of our products if they offer it. And when you put the client's info and receive SMS signature link, you go to next. Okay. And then agent information, you're going to verify your information. And next. Do you have any existing life insurance or annuity contract? If they have a policy in place, always put yes. But this is another tip. You put the information, but you might not know the policy number. Most of the time, I just put unknown. Because policy number, a lot of clients don't have the policy, available right away, like the policy package. But another tip is you don't have to put all their insurance either. Sometimes you don't want to put all the insurance. Do you know why? Because they're going to be like, oh, this client has 50,000 a year, 30,000 a year, 50,000 a year. Why does he need more insurance? His income is only 20,000 a year. So if they have multiple, I just put at least one in here to acknowledge that they have something in place. Does that make sense? If you want to put more, you can. You can add additional policy, but I like to share enough but not all of it to where it's gonna anything that can affect the client's insurability in a negative way, I try to not do it to the best of my knowledge. Okay. Because we're representing the client. Are you considering discontinuing making premiums payments? And then, yeah, this question right here. It's asking, hey, if you get approved with this one, are you potentially gonna cancel that one and then use the money to pay for this one? Things like that, right? I usually would always put no for a couple reasons. One, when you put that client is going to replace this with this new application you're doing for your client, whether they get approved or not, the existing insurance policy company gets notified just by law. They automatically get notified. So if you put yes, it's going to be replacing it, but client gets denied with the new application you help them with, still the insurance carrier that the client currently have, they're going to get a notification saying, hey, your client is trying to cancel the policy. And guess what? If you're an agent or if you're an insurance company almost losing the client, they're going to try to call the client and say, hey, why are you trying to cancel it? So to prevent that, you can put no on this question most of the time. Go ahead, Jessica.
Quick question. Just
Mhm.
also because I know we have some newer agents on here.
Yeah.
When listing policies that the client currently has in place, just want to clarify, we do not
Mhm.
have to list policies that are through their employer because those are group. They don't own those, correct? And we
That's
also do not have to list accidental policies because those are, one, a health product, two, they don't cover any life issues. Those are accidental death policies, correct?
yes, that's correct.
All right, perfect. Just wanted
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make sure that we clarified that for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, those are great points. So I like to keep it simple. There is a thing, right? They say KISS, like keep it simple, stupid the thing. It's true. I actually live by that. Try to keep it as simple as possible, right? If it's gonna make the underwriting harder for the client, I'm not trying to do that, right? Already just getting the client to apply with you and get the coverage and agree to do that. I'm not trying to make it any harder than that. Okay. And these questions are no, so using the funds for it, there's an option to have disclosure read by the client. Okay, this one you can do yes or no, doesn't matter. Will you replace an existing life insurance policy or annuity? Yeah, this is no. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Because if the client gets approved, they might cancel it, but they might not cancel it. And if the client gets approved with this plan, or they get denied with this new application you're submitting for a client, definitely they're not going to replace that. So just be aware of that. And they don't really check that. They're not going to say, oh, they're calling up your previous company and say, hey, are you trying to cancel? No, they're not doing all that. So um, it's just for their information and their record.
Don,
During the, yeah,
can I add my 2 cents here?
you said what?
But if you do hit yes, it could cause you
Hmm.
a whole lot of problems on that question.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
That's
true.
just my 2 cents.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it can definitely open a can of worms. So yeah, prefer no. And during the past 12 months, have you used tobacco in any form? So no on that one. So excluding occasional pipe and cigar use. So isn't that interesting? If the client uses cigar once every like a month or maybe pipe once in it's okay. They're just looking at more of those cigarettes or they're looking at more of the clients smoking and using tobacco on a kind of like a daily basis. So, but if most likely if they are like a cigarette smoker, most of the time they already have disclosed that to the primary doctor, so most likely it's going to show up. So just be mindful of that. So if they do smoke cigarettes, then you have to put yes on this. Okay. But if the client really quit smoking for the last 12 months and they haven't picked it up, then you can put no. But anything else, like even medical marijuana, or they sometimes use like recreational marijuana, if it's a legal state, then you don't have to disclose that. It's not considered a tobacco product. Height and weight information, you put the height and weight, and you put the physician's information. Even if it's somebody they saw 10 years ago, just put it in there. Even if it's when they got a regular checkup for anything or going to an urgent care, you can come up with something most of the time, right? Not many people have not seen a doctor or any type of medical facility for the last 10, 15 years. It's really rare. Even people who never usually go to the doctors. COVID-19. So talking about COVID-19, so these should be no. Health conditions, complications of diabetes. So this is not, remember, this is not just diabetes. This is complications of diabetes. Insulin shock, diabetic coma, neuropathy, retinopathy, insulin use prior to age 50. So if it's none of these, then don't click on that. Heart failure, liver failure, yeah, so cancer, none of these. So we're gonna go to next. More than one occurrence of cancer in your lifetime or metastatic cancer. So multiple occurrences, not just one cancer. If they have one cancer 10 years ago and survived, you're not clicking this. More than one, so multiple occurrence, or a metastatic, meaning that is spread through their body into different organs. Have you been treated, diagnosed, or been prescribed medication by a medical professional for heart attack, stroke, right? So these are health questions. Bipolar disorder, unoperated aneurysm. So most of these will be considered declinable illnesses. Have you been treated, diagnosed, or been prescribed medication by a medical professional for cancer, cirrhosis, hepatitis, ulcerative colitis, pulmonary hypertension, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis? No. Medical treatment within the last 2 years. Tobacco use, the past 36 months it's asking. So you can click answer based on that. Insulin use prior to age 35. So if they start using insulin at age 40, then this should be a no. High blood pressure prior to age 30. And just look at the question. The reason why they're asking these questions is because when it comes to insulin use before 35, that means the diabetes is having it's progressing pretty quickly. So that's what they're looking for. High blood pressure prior to 30 is considered really early age high blood pressure, like hypertension. So that will also be considered not so good. And they're asking these questions to see if you're a high risk or not. Convicted of a felony, substance use, DUI. Let's just say it's no. Complication of diabetes, we talked about it. We have none of the above. Heart disease, none of the above. Beneficiary information, primary, you can split it into 50-50, or you can do a 60-40, whatever you want. And contingent is a backup beneficiary. So if all the primary beneficiary died or not available, then it will go to the contingent. So it's a backup. Client HIPAA authorization pending. Okay. And at this point, when you go ahead and send it out to the client, it says login, sign as client, right? So even, you are not going to see this in actual application. Client's going to get it in their text message, but we're going to go ahead and pretend we're the client, and then we're going to go ahead and do the test drive signature, okay? So this is what the client is looking at. So they're going to click next. Review and sign your document. Sometimes client gets confused. They're like, oh, I don't see anything to sign. Then just say, hey, don't worry. You don't actually have to physically sign it or use your finger to sign it, draw it. You just have to scroll down, click I have reviewed, understand, and authorized, and sign your documents now, and click on that. Thank you. Your HIPAA has been received. You do next. So now let's go back here. As an agent, once the client signs it on their part, then you just go back and you should be able to look at the underwriting in progress. Reviewing your application, decision typically take about 45 seconds or less. So we're waiting for it now. Once the client
Sean, I
signs
have
that
a
HIPAA,
question.
yeah, then we're gonna get yeah, go ahead.
So I find a lot of times, and it's not necessarily through here because I don't think I've done one or two through here, maybe Transamerica, but I find that the people, seniors, when you send them that text message and they have to sign, I always tell them, 'cause they're having difficulty when they get there. So I'm always telling them to scroll down. So I'm thinking one of two things are happening between the different ones. One
Mhm.
is it asking them to scroll and then they just don't see the checkbox, or is it popping open another window and then they can't get back to where they need? And the challenge is, of
It
course,
depends on the carrier. Yeah, it depends
mhm,
on the carrier. Some carriers have that like a PDF file open on a new window and they have to close that
mhm,
and go back to the original window and click the box. Or the one like this where it's on the same page, you just have to scroll down more after you scroll through the PDF and then just click on the box. So it just depends on the carrier. Okay. And so after that 45 seconds, the client is approved, 100,000 preferred plus 384. here, this is also another amazing feature I like about this Quility specific products. By the way, these Quility specific products, nobody else can offer it other than Symmetry agents. How awesome is that? And adjust coverage or accept offer. If the client wants to do, right, a 50,000, they can take an accept offer or they can adjust the coverage as well. So you can actually look at and say, hey, actually client wants only 30,000 now. Update. It's only 117. And sometimes I'll rather have client get something a little less monthly, but it's more comfortable for the client, right? So you can adjust this even after they get approved. Sometimes clients' minds change, right? So I like this. Some other carriers don't let you do that. If you apply for 30K or 50K, then you have to stay in that amount, or you have to later call them and try to change it. So this is so much easier. Accept offer at 30,000. Charitable giving benefit rider. Make-A-Wish Foundation is just defaulted here, or they can choose a different charity. Okay, so if the client doesn't really care about charities, then just leave it on Make-A-Wish Foundation. Would you like to draft to coincide with your Social Security payments? You can say yes, but usually you can just put no and choose a day of where the client wants to get the payment drafted. If your request draft date is within past 7 days or future date, your initial premium occur this month. Yeah, so this is saying that if the client's requested draft date is within the past 7 days or a future date in this current month, then your initial premium will occur this month. So they could potentially be charged very closely if you request for a certain day, and they can be charged again. So just be mindful of that. What I typically do is I ask the client, hey, if you're approved with this coverage, do you want the coverage to start right away? And if the client says, oh, pretty much immediately, then I can go ahead and so today is the 29th as an example, right? So then you can go ahead and put the next day that is available is the first because it only goes up to the 28th. So you can just put the first. So then every first of the month, they'll go ahead and get the premium drafted. Okay. And bank information, you put the routing and account number, you go to next. Secondary designee, most of the time you don't have to elect this. This is if they want to get like a cancellation notice to another address, to another person. You can put no. And this is the last signature. So once the client signs it, then you click submit app. Application is just waiting for signature, test drive client. So you can see right here, this right button right there, the client should have already, you say SMS sent to party, and client will receive a text message. And when we're going in as a client, as if we received a text message, we do the same thing. They've done this already before, right? For the HIPAA. So this should be easy. It's not that much different. You click next. All right. I certify, next. Review and sign documents. You remember I said after they scroll the document, sign your document now. So always remember that to tell the client, and the application is completed. And this is it. When you're done with it, every time you see this button right here, download application, always click on that. You saved it, right? When you click on it, it's going to show you. I mean, this is not an actual application, but it will have all the documents of what you filled out for the client. And you click on the download button. And I always say, this is another tip that I have. When you do download this and you want it to save a certain way, I tend to like to put a specific way of naming it. So here, do you see the application was downloaded, right? So once it's downloaded, you can change the name and say, let's just say your client. So we'll say your client, your name, the name of the client, Jane Doe, whatever. And then I'm going to put MM QSFP 30K application app. So then when you do this, if the client calls you back and says, "Hey, Sean, I got a policy from you 2 years ago," and you can always look it up in your either your drive or in your computer to see what that application was, and you can always bring that up. So this is just a little tip. Because if you just save it as an application and everything gets saved as an application, then how do you know which one is which? So definitely differentiate that. All right. Oh, it went longer than I thought. Any questions?
I have a couple of questions for you, Sean.
Yeah, Kanya.
Yeah, so my first question is, I don't know where I heard this, but I heard that this sort of has stricter underwriting than Moo Living Promise and Americo Eagle Select. Is that true?
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily like strict, but also the rating. So the way I think of it as is there's like a preferred plus, preferred, and a non like a standard non-tobacco rating on this product, QSFP. So if a client can get a preferred plus rating, this prices tend to be cheaper than Americo and Mutual of Omaha. But to qualify for preferred plus, their health have to be pretty good, right? So in that case, if the client's health is pretty good for a senior, then preferred plus rating is going to be better. And it's not necessarily strict in that regard. But if the client has some major health issues, then they might not qualify for a preferred plus rating and they qualify for standard rating. Then that can seem like also the underwriting is stricter because the pricing is now higher and they didn't qualify a better rating, if that makes sense.
Okay, so this is sort of like top tier good pricing for people who are seniors with good health.
Yeah. So, but what's also great is that if you apply for preferred plus rating, thinking based on what the client told you, you apply for the preferred plus, but they might come back and say, "Oh, client can only get preferred," then they're gonna get a counter offer, and you can adjust the face amount to make sure it fits in their budget.
Okay. And then my second question was, so it's this one and the Transamerica FE are the two FEs that offer up to 100,000 of coverage, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
UHL
welcome.
does too, up to age 60.
Yeah, only up to 60. Mhm. And yeah, any other questions? All right. So to wrap it up, the training, just be a student of the game and practice this. You don't want to be trying the application for the first time in front of the client. Use this test drive, try it yourself. If you can write a policy on yourself, write it on yourself because it's an amazing products and it's a great practice. And one of the first thing I did when I first joined this company is that I wrote a policy on myself. And back then, we didn't have all these fancy products. I had to write a paper app for Mutual of Omaha. But it's once I got a policy, I was only 25 years old at the time. And I'm telling these clients who are 60, 70, 80 years old to get a coverage. And if I don't even have one for myself, how can I tell other people to get it? So utilize the web page that you have under HQ, look at the carriers, look at all the resources that you have available, information, and you just learn one at a time. And don't overwhelm yourself. Just choose few carriers that we use the most, and then really just learn those few products from each carrier. And once you become comfortable, then you can expand and learn other products. Don't overwhelm yourself. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Having so many carriers and products is a blessing, and it could also be a curse to agents. You have 100 carrier products, and then you're like, oh, I don't know which one to use. So utilize the Quility Navigator platform, especially if you're a new agent and you don't know exactly what you're doing. Just go to HQ, go click on this, go to Navigator, and start quoting the different products. And they'll compare the rates for you and start the application. And you don't have to go to the carrier website, do a separate illustration, do an application here. No, you can do everything under this one umbrella.
Sean, does this one have accidental death on it, or I know it has a few living benefits.
No, so yeah, these products that I just shared with you does not. They don't have the actual extra accidental death benefit riders that you can add. The client will get the same amount, 50,000 natural, 50,000 accidental. But if the client is younger than 70, then you can add a accidental policy, like guaranteed advantage from Mutual of Omaha, and it's really good pricing. So you can add that. Okay. And yeah, we can go ahead and just go straight into the case prepping. So do you have any questions for case prep?
Hey, Sean, I have a quick question for you that is absolutely sidebar from
Okay. Yeah,
anything
it's
that
okay.
you were talking about. You just actually showed it on the screen, and it's a question that I've had and was going to ask. But with products that have, like, for us that are building and we have downline agents, so on
Mhm.
products that you have
Yeah.
the states that require the upline to be licensed to get
Hmm.
overrides. When
Yeah.
it says the entire hierarchy has to be licensed, does that mean if like one person along the chain isn't, then nobody gets overrides, or
No,
is that what
yeah.
they're
So
saying?
yeah, that's a good question. The way it actually works is that let's just say we have three people on the hierarchy and a new agent writes business, but let's just say one of the upline just does not have license in that non-resident state. Then that person will just not receive a commission,
Okay.
but the other people who are licensed in the upline will get the override.
Okay. Okay. I didn't mean if it meant nobody will if there's one
Yeah.
person in that chain, or okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So that person just doesn't get it, but yeah, they even if they get a license, it's too late at that point because the policy was already issued and paid out. But for the next one, the agent submits. So yeah, it's just good to already be licensed, but at the same time, you don't know if one agent is gonna do something or not. So it's and then license can be quite expensive on depending on what state. So
Yeah.
if it's a pretty affordable state, like $50 state, then I think it's worth it. But if it's like a Hawaii or somewhere that it's like a couple $100 and more, then I might just wait until the agent is ready to submit the business and you can just get licensed then.
Got it.
Okay. Right. Any questions? And it doesn't have to be case prep. You can ask any type of questions regarding this business. Or if you have a specific client that you would like to maybe go over a specific options for the client, then I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Okay, and in case you don't have any more questions, I'll stay here for another 5 minutes so agents can ask any questions. But yeah, so I know, Kat, you're doing the Blitz thing. You want to go over that real quick in breakout room 5, what we're doing? Kat?
Sorry. I was reading something. What did
Yeah.
you say, Sean?
No, I was saying that you're kind of like hosting the Blitz thing in breakout room 5. Maybe you can tell the agents we're on this call right now to maybe they can join that and focus on the business for the next few days.
Yeah, we're just all gonna hop over to breakout room 5, and then we're all just gonna be muted out and dialing. And then if you get somebody on the phone, we can kind of round robin. You can unmute if you want people to, kind of listen to your call and get any feedback if you're a newer agent. Not running appointments or anything like that in there, but we do want to allow everybody the opportunity to kind of like unmute. But the whole purpose is just for the next 2 days to get in there and really like dig in, make a lot of calls and see how much, APV we can put up in the next day or two. One, to help Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's the last 2 days of that for corporate, and just to push for numbers for the master agency for the last 2 days of the month.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if somebody is close to hitting their minimum requirements for their promotion, great time to do that. And next week we're gonna be doing the 2-day Blitz Ignite special, where you can win a ticket to Ignite or get it upgraded to VIP. So this will be perfect. So we do it today and tomorrow, and then we'll do the same thing for the next Thursday and Friday as well, leading up to the corporate overview in Las Vegas. So. Yeah, and if you have any other
Awesome.
questions, I'm still here to help you. But yeah, if you want to work together and have accountability partners, you can go to the breakout room 5.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean, so much. Great training.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Eva, so yeah, thank you, Drake, for sharing that. So that's the YouTube channel for the Kim Master Agency. And once this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and get this uploaded. It takes about like an hour to just download it, and to upload it takes another hour. So I'll definitely get that posted on the YouTube channel. Yeah, Stephanie. Yeah. So that link that Drake just shared on the chat, the youtube.com with the Kim Agency, yeah. So you can just click on that and go to the YouTube channel and watch any of the recorded calls. This one right here. Just post it again. Yeah, yeah, it is. You can go to the HQ. Let me just make sure I can show you. Double check. I think it was, where was that at? Where was the recording at? We have it here. I wonder if it was under the sales training. Yeah, here you go. So under sales tools, you go to sales training, and when you scroll down a little bit, it's calls and webinars. You click more info, and there's call information. You can register for these. These are ongoing ones throughout the week. And when you scroll down, you can also look at the other trainings that's happening every week. And these are the previous recorded trainings and calls. So you can watch it down here, national call and everything. Yeah, and when you scroll down a little more, I mean, take a look at this, like Jeremy Minor 8-week NEPQ training. This is a sales training that you can literally take. Telesales how to series, how to set up your Zoom and how to talk to the client virtually. Everything is in here. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining the training. And yeah, it's gonna be an amazing year. Already our agency is absolutely crushing it. So congratulations to you guys, and it's gonna be the best year yet. And I want everybody to be a part of this for yourself, not just about for the agency, but for yourself. I want you to make the most money you have ever made. But remember, if you're always done the same thing that you have always done, and to expect a different result, that's called insanity, right? So do more, then you'll see bigger results. That's the only way. When I wanted to go from making $100,000 a year to 300, 400, $500,000 a year, I worked harder. I was more intentional. I set all the goals every morning, what I'm gonna do today, and made it happen. So write those things down. It's super powerful. So write it down today. What are you gonna accomplish today? Maybe you were hesitating reaching out to some people, whether it is recruiting, whether it is clients, potential clients, and clients who told you during Christmas that they're busy during the holiday, call you next year, and you didn't call them back. I saw Jory, like he had a client he was talking last year, and he couldn't sell that client because he was busy or something, and keep following up, and he finally closed it just a few days ago. So just go and put that activity in and you'll see the results. So yeah, I'll see you guys later at the breakout room 5. I have another interview I have to go to. But yeah, I'll see you later. Okay? Take care.
Bye, boss.
Bye.